Once had a friend who was unfortunate to keep stepping on his scanners and code readers. According to him, no matter where he kept them, he ultimately ended up stepping on them in his workshop. It was a standing joke that we all made of him all the time. When I first saw the Foxwell NT201, I thought, at last, this is a brightly colored code reader that no one would claim not to see or accidentally step on. Come to think of it, it's cute and does what it says it will do. However, that's just the good. There's the bad and ugly. So be sure to stick around to the end as I will reveal details about the NT201 you won't find anywhere else, plus an alternative you can take a look at. If you skip the video or jump to the end, you will miss a lot of valuable information. I'll also link to the code reader in the description below so that you can check it out after you are done watching this review. If you haven't yet liked the video and subscribed, now is the best time to do so. If you are more of a reading person, check out my auto DIY website, tratoholic.com, where I've published a written review of the Foxwell NT201. I'll also link to that review in the description below. The Foxwell NT201 comes in a biodegradable pack, and inside the pack, you'll find the code reader itself, a user manual written in clear, concise language, and of course, a cable for updating it when the manufacturer has an update for it. It's also very lightweight, so if you decide on a carrier that charges on weight, you are sure to save on shipping cost should you decide to buy it. Most OBD2 code readers aren't exactly fast when plugged. However, the Foxwell NT201 is an exception. Immediately after the unit is plugged into the OBD2 port of a vehicle, a brief initialization comes up and the device is ready to use with its colored interface. Since this is a basic code reader, there's nothing fancy here, just the regular items you'd expect from the home display of such a basic unit. OBD2/eOBD, IM, DTC Lookup, and the likes. If you are interested in reading stored engine codes, which almost anyone interested in this code reader wants to use it for, the option to opt for it is in the first item on the menu, the OBD2/eOBD. This option allows the device to run through the protocols the Foxwell NT201 supports, and at its end displays a smart summary for your consumption. This summary is also accompanied by an illumination of the external status lights to consolidate the written summary. A green tick indicates that all is well with the engine, code-wise. An orange caution sign indicates a pending issue, and a red caution is positive that the code is stored somewhere in the system and needs attention. Since the Foxwell NT201 is a smart code reader and stores data from each check, the device will ask at this point if it should erase previously stored data to save data from the test you are now performing. Since I have nothing important stored from the prior test, I'll go ahead and click on yes. You should click on no if you have something important saved up and would love to come back to it later on. Immediately after that is done, a serialized menu pops up starting with read codes. I'll press enter on the read codes item to see if something else will pop up. From there, the unit will ask if you're interested in either stored or pending codes. Stored codes are codes that have already presented themselves and have actively registered in the ECU. Pending codes haven't yet registered in the system, but are on their way and will register sooner than later. However, it's worth noting that while stored codes show in the instrument cluster, pending codes do not. More often than not, if you don't scan the vehicle, you won't know of a pending code on the vehicle. To check on the stored codes, press enter and wait for the codes or a message telling you there are no codes. In my case here, there are no codes, so it simply says no codes are stored in the module, and after that I should press any key to continue. You have the option of pressing any key as instructed or simply waiting. I decided to wait, and in about 3 seconds, the menu redirected back to check the other prior items, pending codes. Using the down navigational button to access the option and pressing enter will bring out any pending code that hasn't yet manifested on the cluster. In my case here, it simply reads that no pending codes are stored in the module. It adds that I should press any key to continue. However, I decided to simply wait, and about 3 seconds later, the menu is brought back, and I simply use the escape or back key to proceed back to the main menu. On the main menu, there is the option of erasing the codes, if any were found, just below the read code option. This option is suitable for those times when you have tackled the issue the vehicle complained of in the first place and would rather not have Christmas lights on your cluster. This function is also smart if you believe that the issue set is a minor one and has corrected itself. It is also practical to use this function when you have too many codes and are confused where to start. Erasing the codes and watching which ones come back will give you a first-hand glimpse into what codes are present at the moment and need urgent attention. Press the enter button and the screen asks you if you should erase trouble codes and adds, "Are you sure?" There's a yes and no option, which you ought to choose as appropriate. Since I don't have any codes set here, I'll simply proceed back to the main menu by clicking no. The command to erase codes will be cancelled and you'll be redirected back to the serialized home menu with all the major items there. The next options on the main menu are the live data option and freeze frame, which are very important in diagnosing an issue, especially one that is troublesome and won't simply avail itself to easy diagnosis. The live data option brings out information about the real working conditions of most of the engine sensors and computers. The freeze frame, on the other hand, brings out information about the state of the vehicle when a particular diagnostic trouble code was set, so that you know the vehicle's running conditions at the time the diagnostic trouble code happened, and importantly, be properly guided. Down on the main menu, IM Readiness is next, which is just a fancy way of letting you check your vehicle's readiness in preparations for an emissions test. Here, the records reflect since the last diagnostic trouble codes were cleared. Codes, fuel line, the evap system, catalytic converters, and the entirety of the emissions system is checked. The idea is to make sure that you are positively ready for an emissions test before presenting yourself for the test proper. The next option on the main menu is the oxygen sensor test, which tests all 2 or 4 oxygen sensors pre and post catalytic converter, depending on what vehicle type you have. The onboard monitor gives you access to about 30 options, manufacturer-wise. From these options, you are able to test manufacturer-specific values, if that's your thing. The next options on the main menu are the component test, vehicle information, modules present, and unit of measure, which are all self-explanatory and easy to play with when faced with actual usage. However, it's important to mention that the vehicle information feature is very important, especially when buying used vehicles. This will help you avoid VIN inconsistencies, and you can easily confirm what the ECU says via the code reader with what's on the body parts and make up your mind based on what information you ultimately glean from the situation. Before wrapping up this review, there's something worth noting specifically. The Foxwell NT201 comes powered with a DTC Lookup function that explains what any strange diagnostic trouble code you've encountered means. For instance, if I enter the code P2355, it tells me that the cylinder 10's pressure sensor circuit is high. The only challenge here is that I don't own or drive a 10-cylinder vehicle like the Lexus LFA, but You get the gist. A more realistic code for me would be the P0301 code, which the Foxwell NT201 interprets as a misfire on cylinder number 1. Now, that would be anywhere from a bad ignition coil to a spark plug or anything else in between, but it gives me perspective on where to look and ultimately start my diagnosis. The best selling feature of the Foxwell NT201, in my opinion, is a user manual. I've seen many units with very poorly written manuals that frustrate the beginner and make understanding anything written there appear like Einstein's equations. That said, the code reader itself is okay generally, if you don't mind the rather strange but advantageous orange color. The build quality on its part is okay, nothing to condemn or brag about considering its price point. If you want to get something you'll be truly happy with, however, try the Ancel AD410. It's been my glove box code reader for more than 5 years and I wholeheartedly recommend it. I'll leave a link to the Ancel AD410 so that you can check it out and make up your mind. Take care, take wrenching seriously, and importantly, consider fixing your vehicle yourself when and if the opportunity presents itself. If you've not already subscribed, click the subscribe button, enable notifications, and like the video. That way, you are sure to hear from me again sooner than later. See you on the next one.